Arizona football is still above schedule right now, and there is some big games coming forward with a few intriguing little matchups right there. We're going to talk about all that and more on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. This show is brought to you by PrizePicks. All right, now, UCLA game is in the rear view. As much as we'd like to talk about it, we've got more to talk about here, and that is 3 big games remaining for the University of Arizona. Big games, my friends, big games. All right, Colorado. This is next up. Arizona, big week for Arizona athletics. Friday, Arizona Duke in basketball in Cameron, and then you got Arizona Colorado. We're going to talk about Arizona Duke later in the week, my friends, but now we will talk about Arizona Colorado. All right. This is an interesting situation here because Deion Sanders, I think by any accounts, has been a good hire for Arizona. For Colorado. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't think that we can sit here and say that he hasn't, because even if this thing blows up, it's still fair to say that, you know what, Deion has made Colorado relevant, and let's be honest, Colorado was not relevant before Deion, and Colorado was not close to being relevant before Deion. You look at his son right there, Shedeur Sanders. That's what a first-round pick is supposed to look like, and you look at some of his players from Xavier Weaver to Horn, to Travis Hunter. They've got a lot of players that are going to play on Sundays. But there is some dissension right here. This team has not played nearly as well as they had in the past. But that's also, I thought that Colorado, to be honest with you, was a little bit of a mirage. The main reason that I thought that was because you watched how they play, you watched their games, and yeah, they beat TCU 45-42. TCU's not very good. I mean, I know they returned everybody. Very cool. But they're not, I know they returned a lot, but they didn't return their quarterback. I mean, I kind of take that with a grain of salt right there. And then they were right in a game against a crummy Nebraska team. Now, again, I know that Nebraska's probably going to go to a bowl. I grew up in a Nebraska household, so I know all about it. But honestly, the Big Ten West stinks. But in Colorado, if probably loses that game, if Nebraska doesn't hand them the ball 8 different times, it seemed. But Colorado right now, against good teams, they've kind of been exposed. They lost to Stanford, not a good team. They lost to UCLA as well. UCLA. They got absolutely boat raced by Oregon, also a good team, but that game was never even competitive. Go into triple overtime against Colorado State. This is a game that I expect Arizona to win. I think Arizona is just better on both sides of the ball. You could say that, Mike, you're being biased. Well, maybe I am, but I don't think so. I think that Arizona right now is a better football team than Colorado, and I think they're better on both sides of the ball, to be honest with you. Noah Fifita in this offense, I think, is far more versatile, far more multiple, as the kids would say. And you got a really good passing game in Noah Fifita and T-Mac and Jacob Cowing, obviously. And then at the running back spot, you got a bevy of running backs right there. You got 3 dudes in Jonah Coleman, DJ Williams, Michael Wiley that can all play football and can all play football at a very, very high level. Not only that, I do think that I think it's fair to say at this point that we also know that the defense is good. Now, again, there's going to be some hiccups for sure. But the defensive talent, I think it's very hard to say that I do think it's very hard to say that this team isn't pretty talented across the board. I mean, we've talked about this for weeks now, that, you know, on the defensive line, you got playmakers. The linebacker spot, you got playmakers. Now, again, it's not like this team is Alabama or Georgia. But I do think that it is fair to say that they have a variety of NFL players here, or NFL players, excuse me, a variety of players that can be all conference on all three levels right there. Now, I think the one thing that is fascinating about this squad is what is going to happen then in the what's going to happen against Colorado in the secondary, because again, Colorado, the one thing they've shown is they can't really protect Shedeur Sanders. Not only can they not really protect him, it kind of feels like some of these games get away from him. Arizona has a pretty good defensive line. Arizona needs to be able to let's be honest here, get after Shedeur. And they need to get after Shedeur in a big way, because again, Shedeur is that dude who, if you give him time, he will absolutely pick you apart. Not only will he pick you apart, he will give you he will be that guy that also is going to make things a lot harder for you, because again, he's got a good rapport with his receivers. Not only does he have a good rapport with his receivers, he's also got the rapport where you feel that it's not a fluke. And again, he's going to find you if you're open. And not only are you going to find, if he's going to find you if you're open, he is going to make the big play. So again, it's going to be on this defensive line to be able to get after him, because the offensive line for Colorado stinks. Deion's already fired his offensive coordinator. I thought that was kind of a crummy move, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. I'm not Deion Sanders. I'm not the greatest corner of all time. So what do I know? But and then in the secondary, it's going to be incumbent upon Ephesians Prysock, Jakario Davis, these dudes to be able to stick with these receivers. And what makes Colorado fascinating is that they've got a plethora of different types of receivers out there. Again, when you've got a Horn, when you've got a Travis Hunter, then an Xavier Weaver, these are all dudes that are a little bit different, some fast, some more shifty, but they can all make plays out there. It's going to be on Ephesians Prysock, Jakario Davis, Traden Stukes to be able to make those plays, to be able to keep these guys in front of them. And I think they're going to be able to do just that, but it's going to be a test. Again, this is going to be a good test for this team right here, though, because again, this is a solid, if unspectacular, Colorado team right here, at least on the offensive side. The defense is a joke. I believe that Arizona should 1,000% be able to do whatever they need to do against this team. Now, coming up, we are going to talk about Arizona, Utah. In the past, this was a game that you never really thought that Arizona had a chance. Now you feel really good going into that game, and there's a variety of reasons why, which we will certainly explain. But first, Athletic Brewing, athleticbrewing.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 15% off your first order at athleticbrewing.com. Again, I was at Tap and Bottle the other day, and a guy came by and he offered me some Athletic Brew. And you know what? I like having a few cold ones from time to time. This one tasted absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed it a great deal. Athletic Brewing, again, kind of tastes like your normal drink, but you know what? There's no alcohol, no hangover, none of that stuff. So again, use code LOCKEDON for 15% off your first order. Again, athleticbrewing.com. You will thank me later. And eBay Motors. All right, if you're like me and you're an engine neophyte, if you know absolutely nothing about cars, eBay Motors is the place for you. They have come, and they are a beacon of light in an uncertain time. The right parts, the right fit, the right prices. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Remember this, my friends, only available to U.S. customers. Check it out. Again, if you're like me and you don't know what you're doing and you're tired of getting pushed around by these places, cut out the middleman, go there yourself, and then bring it to somebody that you know, that you respect. Check it out, ebaymotors.com. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats. I am your first host. And thanks, Ann, for making it your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now. The Utah Utes, my friend. All right. The Utah Utes have been the class of the conference now for the last 5-6 years. Sorry, USC. Sorry, Oregon. Sorry, Washington. It's just the way it is. Kyle Whittingham is the best coach in the conference. He has the best program. And yes, he doesn't get the 5-star guys, but he also gets the players that he needs to be able to make this one occur. Now, a big part of it is that he knows what he's doing. He's got a system. And I think a system is a lot kind of like what Jedd Fisch is trying to emulate, to be honest with you. You're trying to bring in players who, listen, you're not going to get the players like Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Zach Blackerby, if you're listening, get from the Deep South. Again, you're just not going to get those dudes. So what you need to do is you need to get bigger players that you can hopefully mold into your own situation right here, there. And that's what Arizona has done on the defensive line and on the offensive line. And I think that's a big reason for the improvement right now. Now, a big part of it, though, going forward is you want to be like Utah. And not only do you want to be like Utah, you want to be like them in that they get players that they get players that fit their system. And Kyle Whittingham has done just that. Now, this is not your vintage Utah team, my friends. Oh, no. Because in the past, you had Cam Rising or you had some other quarterback that, let's be honest, probably wasn't that good, but he was very good for that system, and Kyle Whittingham made it work. Now, it's a little bit different, my friends, because Cam Rising is not coming to the rescue this year. And not only is he not coming to the rescue, he will not be to the rescue this entire year. Their offense has been a little bit better of late, but this is not a great Utah offense. Steve Smith is not streaking down the sidelines for this team, my friends. So that's something you got to keep in mind. But there is, and so Arizona, with the defense that Arizona has, they should be able to contain Utah. I know that this is crazy to say, but Arizona, in my opinion, should be able to contain Utah. And if they can't contain Utah, then something else is going on here because Utah does not have a great offense. Again, this is not your father's Utah Ute offense. But defensively, again, you can't defensively. If you're, offensively, if you're Arizona, you can't turn the ball over. That's the big thing. Do not turn the ball over. Because Utah is the team that waits and waits and waits and waits for you to make a mistake, and then they absolutely crash in on you. You don't want that to happen, my friends. This cannot happen because, again, that's how Utah is going to win. It feels like, and again, this is weird to say, totally get it, weird to say, but this also kind of feels like a game that Arizona should this feels like a game that Arizona might actually have more talent than Utah, more across-the-board talent. And I can't remember the last time that we've actually said that or said that with a straight face. But I do believe that is the case. So Arizona, I believe, can win this game. And if Arizona wins this game, that would really be another huge hallmark game for Jedd Fisch right here and what he's doing. Because, again, Utah has been the class of the conference. Don't listen to what any of your USC friends say or anything like that. Know that this is the class of the conference right here. And if you don't believe me that it's the class of the conference, all you need to do is look on the field right there, and you can tell that it is the field results, and you can tell. What is Utah's record against USC last 3 years? What, 3-0? They've won the conference. Again, they're good. And not only are they good, they're not going anywhere. Kyle Whittingham is the man. He is a leader of men. And, again, a good dude right there. Like I said, a beacon of light during an uncertain time. So, with this game, though, if you're Noah Fifita, you just got to keep doing what you've been doing. Again, been some hiccups every now and then. But overall, you can tell that Noah's got a command of the offense. Not only does Noah have a command of the offense, he is the quarterback, too, that I think the players just kind of gravitate towards. And not only do they gravitate towards, they also he kind of raises the elevation of their game. Again, T-Mac, Jacob Cowing, Tanner McLaughlin, these dudes all get open for him. Not that they weren't getting open before, but there is something to be said, though, when you do know that you are going to be able to have a quarterback that is going to throw you open. Again, don't want to compare T-Mac to Peyton Manning or T-Mac. Don't want to compare Noah Fifita to Peyton Manning, but I'm about to, because again, you always heard about throwing people open. That is what Noah Fifita does. Noah Fifita, again, leader of men out there, and just a dude that gets it. I know he's a little diminutive. I know he's a little bit undersized. I understand all of that, but the one thing though is that we do know that he is somebody that this team absolutely rallies behind. And not only do they rally behind, you can just tell that they 100% do like and respect him. And honestly, it's really hard not to respect what the kid has been able to do. Again, you win 3 straight Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. You're obviously doing something right at this point. And again, that's why I think that it's super exciting to watch what what he's been able to do. Now, a couple other things too. Arizona ASU. Now, you always hear that this is a rivalry game, and it is a rivalry game. Now, nationally, people don't really care because, again, it's Arizona football, it's ASU football. We know where we are in the pecking order, but I will say this. I don't believe that there is any teams that dislike each other, any programs that dislike each other more. And we're going to talk about that angle right there and what it means for Arizona. But first, PrizePicks. All right, check it out. PrizePicks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for a first deposit match up to $100, my friends. How good of a deal is that? PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. All kinds of good stuff. And not only all kinds of good stuff, I think it's also fair to say that we're at the stage now where you look at games. If you know games, you're like, all right, I think this guy's going to be able to do this or this guy's going to be able to do that. PrizePicks says, come this way, my friends. So again, check it out. Use code LOCKEDON, Locked On College for a first deposit match up to $100, my friends. You will thank me later. And not only will you thank me later, you will say, man, this guy, Mike Luke, isn't totally worthless. I get this all the time, but every now and then I get one. Check it out right there. Thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Now, my friends, what are we going to talk about now? We are going to talk about ASU. All right, now, I actually like Kenny Dillingham. I think he was actually a pretty solid hire. Again, it's a little bit of that Jedd Fisch thing, and that you want players you want coaches that want to be, or coaches that want to be there, that aren't just looking to get out of there and say, you know what, there was my stepping stone job. Rich Rodriguez, I am looking right at you, and that's why you're coaching at Jackson State, Rich Rodriguez, because it was 1 foot out the door the entire time. This is a little bit different, though, my friends. It's a little bit different because Kenny Dillingham wants to be there. And honestly, I think he's done a decent job. ASU stinks. He inherited an absolute mess. And not only did he inherit an absolute mess, he also inherited a team that I think, if we're being honest here, you kind of knew that this thing isn't going to end well because Herm Edwards cheated out of his mind. I don't understand why Herm Edwards is at ESPN right now. You would think that he would be flogged publicly, but whatever. I do think, though, that ASU, listen, if Trenton Bourguet is your quarterback, that's a good and a bad thing because, again, he's not going to do bad or he's not going to do crummy things out there. I also don't know that he's necessarily going to lead you to a lot of victories, though, as well. That is something that you got to keep in mind. But they do have good wide receivers at ASU. Elijah Badger is very, very good. He'll play in the NFL. He'll play on Sundays, as the people say. And then Cameron Skattebo in the backfield. I like Cameron Skattebo. I think Cameron Skattebo is good. Kind of your scrappy running back, tough, built low to the ground, actually a fairly good passer. It would seem like he would be really good at like LaDainian Tomlinson, little little trick play touchdowns. And he's a good punter as well. There's a lot to like about him. And then DeCarlos Brooks, not bad in the backfield either. They've got a little bit of talent on that side of the ball. They really do. But Arizona's got better players. Arizona, honestly, I don't know that there's a position that Arizona does not have better players than ASU at. Arizona's got better quarterback. Arizona's got better running backs, better wide receivers, better offensive line. Maybe the tight ends somewhat equal, although I'd much rather have Tanner McLaughlin than Jalen Conyers. Then on the defensive line, linebackers and DBs, I think that Arizona's better there as well. I think across the board, Arizona football has better players than ASU. This is a game that Arizona should be able to win. Again, I know, rolling eye emoji. I know that it's a rivalry game. Get it. Totally get it. But Arizona should be able to win this game, in my opinion. And not only should they be able to win this game, I think they should be able to win this game going away. Again, this game is going to be for bowl, for bowl seeding. Is that a thing? Bowl seeding. And Arizona, I think, is going to have every single inclination to be able to make this one happen. So, again, I believe Arizona should be able to get that win. Again, before the year, I told you on FanDuel, check out the over of 5 for Arizona football wins. If you would listen to me, you'd be a very, very rich person right now. And I say get greedy, keep going here, because Arizona is going to keep going, and they are not going to stop, my friends. All right. But again, these are the 3 remaining games. Wanted to look all the way in the future, not look back at all, because what is done is done. But Arizona should be able to beat these teams. At the very least, I think Arizona should go 2-1, which is such a departure from where we've been in the past, that Arizona should be able to go 2-1 in these games. We're expecting victories here in the old Pueblo. But, all right, we're going to be back with you tomorrow, though. We're going to start talking a little bit of Arizona basketball, because Arizona basketball, my friends, is right around the corner. Arizona, Morgan State tonight. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, obviously. And then we're going to talk about Arizona Duke, Arizona football, you name it, we got it. But as always, thanks a ton for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. We will be back with you tomorrow.